Hello and welcome to HypnoGeeks. We've got an absolutely fantastic guest for you on this episode of HypnoGeeks. We've got a fantastic guest all the way from very, very far away. I'm going to get him to introduce himself properly and say where he's from. But I don't know if you're like me, and for a few months now, I've been seeing things about the Silva Method popping up on YouTube. I don't know if maybe my algorithms are causing me to see more of these adverts. But I know when I've spoken to people, a lot of other people have said, "What is it? And what's it about? Is it similar to hypnosis in some way?" I know that it works with different brainwave states, but my guest tonight on the show is going to be able to really tell us a bit more in depth about what it is. And he's got an education in clinical medical hypnotherapy. I love it when I get a fellow hypnotherapist on the HypnoGeeks show. It means that we're already talking in the same language. He's also an energy healer, working with Reiki and other forms of energy medicine, and he's got degrees in mind-body psychology, really analysing and assessing and understanding that amazing mind-body connection. Like we talk about loads and loads and loads. He does lots of things with neurobiology, neuroscience, and he knows lots of neuro hacks that can really help people to just feel better and function better in their everyday life. I'm just going to introduce him. It's lovely to have you on the show, Albert. Albert, where are you? Where are you when I'm speaking to you tonight? Where are you? Where are you from? Where are you in this moment in time? Because you're not in the UK.
At the moment, I'm here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'm 34. It's been a long journey exploring all these different topics and states of mind, so to speak, in the study in the field that we're in.
Yeah.
So
it's not just the mind stuff. You've done a lot of stuff with the body as well, haven't you? Tell us a little bit about the variety of exploring that you've done with kind of mind, body, holistic medicines and techniques and tools.
A little bit of my journey started out with Reiki, of course, and that led me to more of a finer points of study that in turn led me to the Silva Method, which I had studied profusely and which caught my attention to help me move towards, of course, the clinical medical hypnotherapy side and just a whole expansive group of things that I wasn't privy to when I was younger, to help me understand just my surroundings, myself, and what I could truly achieve with my own power, standing in my power. Reiki.
Yeah, I love that you're talking about recognizing your own power, because it's something that we're not really comfortable talking about a lot, are we? Our own power. Over the past number of years, I've interviewed people from all around the world who have literally healed their spines using the power of their mind. We talk about the placebo effect almost as if it's something negative or bad, or that certainly has an impact on research. But what we know is it exists, and we know it's powerful. And I would like to see more research done into the power of the mind. And certainly as we go more into neuroscience, we're actually starting to be able to see this electrical, chemical communication that happens within us, little cells talking to each other, transforming, growing, changing. And with the understanding of neurogenesis now, we're in a really transformational time where kind of spiritual practices and energy medicine practices and medical practices are all coming together. Science and spirituality are really coming together under a microscope. It's an exciting time. But you've really embraced this mind-body connection in the work that you do. Just tell me a little bit more about the practices that you tend to lean into personally and professionally.
Personally, I've been gravitating towards more of a what I would call mental dynamics, and that encompasses all of what we do in hypnosis as well, like visual side and internal dialogue or like mental house clean type of things, but more of an internal balancing and harmonization that would be to some people like a soul searching, which would relate to the past life therapy and the clinical side. And for me, it's more where I was learning about myself and understanding more of the power that I actually did have when I learned about hypnosis to affect changes that I needed to. So say looking at it from a point of task management, now I feel I'm more confident learning these things so I can take action on those tasks that come up. So say, somebody has a mental issue or something, they could relate that to a certain task that helps them unravel that knot, so to speak. So me, I've come to find that I've been unraveling a lot of those knots from my past childhood, even present life, just the bombardment of this new age and life that we live in, living so fast paced. So I've just been finding myself unraveling those things. That way I could find a level base where I could help other people as well from that experience of my own internal workings. I've come through quitting cigarettes with the hypnotherapy and going through addictions when I was younger. I got over that with the techniques, and just really getting. There's an infatuation that I have with some of these things, but it drives me to learn more techniques and more developmental things that help me understand what it is that the masters were really getting at when they're talking about the subconscious mind or meditation, things like that.
Yeah, I too have been, for me, it's about stripping it back and getting back to basics and really using techniques, just really simple techniques like self-hypnosis and meditation to really go inward and be present with my whole self, and hear what my heart is telling me and sense what my body needs in terms of nourishment and care and love, because for me that self-care was always a challenge. And for me, when I was lacking love or when I was lacking a feeling of connection, previously I would have lent into substance misuse, and I would have smoked, or I would have drank, or I would have partied hard, or I would have withdrawn and hid under a duvet for a couple of days. So it's about me, I recognize the world feels quite chaotic, and so it's been wonderful to be able to dip into just the basics of some beautiful mindful meditations, just some beautiful meditation practices, and just that power of self-hypnosis to get yourself into that space where you can reconnect with self. You can go into that beautiful space of introspection and gain that knowledge and wisdom, because that's already within us, isn't it? That knowledge, that wisdom, that power, it's inside us. And hypnosis for me gives us a way in to get access to that knowledge, collective unconscious knowledge that's there within us all.
Yes.
And
for
that's
me,
kind of what you're doing.
It was a big thing that helped me, because when I was able to break through just with hypnosis or just meditation, those were I felt were some of the most comforting things that brought me the most help. They either use like the visualizations, countdowns, points of focus, every avenue that I could find and search and get my mind wrapped around. That's something that I find is a great tool that I just latched onto and never stopped once I learned about hypnotherapy and how to get
Brilliant.
myself
I've
down
got a
there.
little bit of a delay going on. Obviously, you are in a different country, but there's a few sound disturbances there. But we'll continue on anyway, because I think the essence of what you're saying is still really coming across. But I want to get a bit more into the Silva method. Because this is the reason I'm in touch with you in the first place, because I'm fascinated to know more about it. I do just seem to be seeing it everywhere. Can you explain to me what the Silva method entails? And is it something that you can become certified in, or is it something that's more of a natural inner growth, or how is it?
Yes, you can become certified. You can become certified to teach as well. Two main big differences that I see that would probably answer some questions for is the level that we're going through is still alpha, theta, delta. We're still training those brain frequencies, just like if we were practicing the self-hypnosis practice. That one of the big differences that I found was in the Silva, you're going to be having control over the session, so to speak. So you're going to be the conductor still. So you're going to be allowing yourself to go down to those deep levels while still having that that level of being here to where you can affect and create changes that you want. So what you're going to be doing is training alpha, theta, delta with the counterbalance of you having the conscious action there. So that's where the practice is, and it's a little bit more work. I'll just put it that way. It's not about fully letting go and letting the therapist take over when you're at those deep levels. With the Silva, you are accessing those deep levels while still being able to not be conscious in a sense, but you would access the subconscious while utilizing, just like the therapist, with those conscious frameworks that you develop for yourself. So the more that you would utilize either hypnotherapy, you're going to be creating a stronger, let's put it like this, a bandwidth of alpha, theta, or delta every time that you go. Now, so say you're walking around with your eyes open. If you've been training and you've been using your hypnotherapy or like Silva method, you're going to be able to access alpha for longer periods of time. So instead of like a 30-minute burst, now you're getting an hour or a 2-hour burst, but that's dependent on your level of practice. You've been doing hypnotherapy for longer periods of time. So I would say that your alpha, theta, delta band waves, when your eyes are open, are a lot more expanded than somebody else who hasn't been practicing for, once a day or 3 times a day, which gives you that counterbalance access to do it in that pseudo-conscious state. You still want your ability to access subconscious is still there, but you want to be training your mind to do it consciously. So that's the two main differences between the Silva and just good old hypnotherapy.
So with traditional hypnotherapy, we guide somebody to a state of focused awareness, intensified focus.
Yes.
And while they're in that intensified focus state, our objective is to bypass the critical faculty and activate those bigger, deeper theta brainwaves where the subconscious is very much present, and the more conscious functions of the brain, the prefrontal cortex and the kind of newer outside parts of the brain, they're kind of having a nice little holiday and a chill, and we're going into that parasympathetic dominant state. So we're calm, we're relaxed, we're in rest and digest, we're in a really wonderful healing state, and we're open to experience new states, and we're open to receive suggestions in that. And then if those suggestions are in alignment with what you want and you feel good about it, they're received, and that can create new programs that serve people's life in a better way. So when you're in the alpha state, and correct me if I'm not right, when you're in the alpha state, it's like the high functioning, high thinking kind of state. You go into the alpha state when you're making a presentation. You go into an alpha state when you're problem solving or task managing. So when you're in this hyper or heightened state, you're really active, really focused, and in this really rich state to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
Would that be right? So how do you go from the alpha to the theta, or are you activating both at the same time? What's the kind of blend? Are you going in and out, to and from? Like how is that? How does that work?
Through my studies, you're going to be going, if you're just using specifically without suggestions and things like that, you would be going through a natural state of the brainwave. So when you're asleep, every 90 minutes, we go through alpha, theta, delta, and it looks like a nice little wave like that, alpha, theta, delta. You can affect a different level through suggestion, I believe, because I've been playing around with that, practicing that to see if it's the same effect. Is you can guide yourself through that, but if you just want to use the natural framework of how that mind works, you could just let yourself go down. But
that
yes,
kind of dropping into the lower brainwave states, but noticing that you're going there, maybe.
That would be more of like a meditative view of it. Yes, but with hypnotherapy, I mean, you could guide yourself even further through that into like the theta or a delta with a suggestion or with a certain type of induction as well. Might take you to past alpha through a theta. So those are some of those differences that if people study into it, you could see little points of action that you have, or just something that would be more of like a meditative practice.
So what I've learned already from speaking to you today is that every 90 minutes we go through all of those stages, and I didn't realize that was what we did. That's new to me. So that was really interesting. So from the research that you've done, we go through all of those waves in every 90 minutes, did you say?
90-minute cycles. Yes, that's correct.
That explains why I drift off into a dreamy state every night.
Yes. So your beta would be eyes open, of course. As soon as you start closing your eyes, we go into alpha. You're naturally going there.
Absolutely.
And then from there, it's just anybody's game of how deeply they want to take it.
Interesting. So in terms of the body psychology principles, what have you really learned, and how are you applying that?
Finding different avenues that might be considered the same, but even through like the sleep mechanism, that is a natural form of meditation. If you just get good sleep, that's taking you through some of the deepest places that meditation would as well. Some ways could be, they look different, but it's just about how people are, how they're comfortable getting there. So a lot of these different things that I've learned was more of like an awakening for me to figure okay, it doesn't really matter about the induction sometimes, or it's the readiness of the person and how far they want to take it to explore, um, with what is just a blueprint. It's just a blueprint. Anybody can access even a state of hypnotherapy just without words, with just images in the mind. But for you to understand that that's what you're doing, that's going to be a groundbreaking thing for somebody. It's not just, I'm just thinking of this daydream and all these things.
Yeah.
It's more of a deeper principle and a deeper understanding that you gain when you learn, like, say, the scientific side of hypnotherapy. You get to see the brain waves and that is affecting the mind, and that further pulled me into even more aspects of it, like just the bio side of it, which is how and what that relates to you being in homeostasis or in a relaxed state. um, and it bubbles out. There's a lot of different avenues of study that you can go within that framework. I guess it's just a framework for each practitioner and therapist to look at, is what I'm finding. And just like Silva is just a lighter, I'll say that it's a lighter form of hypnosis, because Jose Silva just wanted to create the program for his kids to do better in school.
Yeah, to learn better, wasn't it? Yeah.
So from that,
yeah,
it's just meant to get you into those concepts that help you go off and master whatever that is of the self journey of that side of hypnotherapy.
Yeah, I've certainly discovered, and we have a module that we teach on it. Like we'll call it hypno learning, but it's taking yourself into that perfect state for studying, for so that you can recall things later. I remember watching an episode of Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if you've ever watched Sherlock Holmes, the new Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes.
Newish now anyway, and he has like this palace of in his mind where he kind of closes his eyes, clearly going into that alpha state, and he's kind of moving things around in his mind, and he's going into a house and he's going down the stairs and he's going to the cupboard at the end of the corridor. When he opens the cupboard, he's got the paperwork in there that has the story and holds the information that he wants to extract. I was like, that's what we do in hypno learning. That's hypno learning. But I guess it's a great tool when you have problems with memory. It's a great tool when you want to learn something new. It's a great tool when you want to develop your competence around something. But I want to ask you a little bit more about the neurobiology stuff that you've really studied, the neurobiology, the neurochemistry, and the neurohacks as well. It's the hacking stuff that I find absolutely mind-blowing. Somebody was saying to me, you look this way and then you look this way, look to the left, look to the right, do a yawn. You've just reset your vagus nerve. I was like, whoa, I'm going to have a go at this. But it really works. It's incredible. Recognizing that chewing and swallowing can have an impact. Just the most simple mechanisms that are really natural, daydreaming, chewing, swallowing, breathing better, have huge impacts on the structures, on the meat in our brain, in our heads, that causes us to think and feel and behave in certain ways. What is it can you elaborate a little bit on some of the neurobiology stuff that you've really got excited about?
As of recently, I know in the Netherlands, they performed open brain surgery just using hypnotherapy. So the National Institute of Health is just advocating for hypnotherapy out here in the States now. So, and they're coming around full circle to everybody. Less stigma around the things. And as for like the biohacking and the neuro side, there's things like, I don't know, some people hear that Superman pose where you put your hands on your hips and you stand up real straight.
Yeah. Wonder
That's that
Woman. I like.
Superman. That's kind of like one of those biohacking things. And also for men, if they put their hands up in the air from the Superman, hands up like that, that'll increase the testosterone, but it also gives you that like a little bit burst of confidence. So for me, like the neural side of it is the training, the practice. It's not going to do even a therapist any good just to wait, just to give themselves an hour session a week. In the Silva, I learned, it's good maybe 3 times a day. Hit yourself with a little of that good habit, because that's what's going to be changing that neural network, allowing you to have a flow state more and more. So the more that you're training either in hypnotherapy, meditation, Silva, it's just getting you to access and create that form work within your mind so you can get into flow and you can do what you do best. Like you said, what do you need? What are you desiring? Like, where do you need to improve? And the level of practice will help you be able to be even more confident at that. So there's a big part of it, of creating that neural network so you can be successful, and not be at a loss, because some people, they have to work on a negative mindset first before you can actively do things that you want. And it goes hand in hand. And that could go into positive psychology, but we already know once we set our mind to something, it all falls into play with the subconscious. So there's a lot of scientific things and communities that are starting to understand and view hypnotherapy as what it's supposed to be: groundbreaking, profound,
Absolutely.
medicine, science. There's a whole science behind this now, and we're all getting to study those.
That's
So
excellent.
that,
I think what we have is we have the ability to create helpful states, resourceful states, peaceful states, states of balance, states of harmony, states of excitement, states of joy, states of compassion and confidence and competence. And we can harness those states and we can access them. I love what you say about having a practice of accessing those ways of thinking and being, those states throughout the day, because what we're doing is we're changing the meat in our heads, aren't we? We're creating new neural pathways as we're doing that, and those ones that are 95% of our thoughts are just nonsense and rubbish. It's about making our minds work for us in a positive way so that we can impact the world in a more positive way and help and heal other people in a more effective way, as well as healing ourselves. Yeah, I love that. I want to ask you about your books that you've got coming up, because I know that you've got massive plans for writing this year. Tell us all about what's coming up, and then we can all follow you.
So what I was developing is more of like it doesn't have to be a training per se, but more of like a educational seminar, which I'm developing here where I stay. But also I could link that up with a book. I would like to develop more of a collaborated list of all these different things, so people can have like something easy to have and to view and to kind of like touch base with on, which could help fuel that self-practice. And that self-practice, I think, is very important too, to help people.
I get a sense of that your passion is in community education. Is that right?
Yes, I would like it to be more of a community-based outreach. It doesn't have to be, any hard written program or anything, but just to be of a resource for the community to help others to find themselves.
Absolutely.
would bring me a
Here
great
in
joy.
here in the UK, we do have a national health service. We're really lucky in that way. It's a massive blessing. But within that framework, there isn't a great deal of introspection, mindfulness, hypnotherapy, holistic therapies. Those are more on the outskirts, and you have to pay for them. And it does infuriate me that rich people get to go lie on a couch and see a therapist, and poor people, you know, they're lucky if they get a diagnosis and get medicated. One of the reasons why I wanted to speak with you so much today was because I got this sense of a passion to share this with everybody and have those community education programs. And I genuinely wish you well with it, because I would love to see these techniques become taught in schools, colleges, street corners. Get them out there. It would be amazing.
Yes, of course. I always thought that, you know, if they taught this in school to young children where they need it the most, where I felt when I was younger, if I knew about these techniques or things that I could help myself understand that I am empowered, I am the one in control, that I have a choice, that I can take action, I think I would have had a lot, maybe not easier time, but I would have had a lot more fun dealing with the challenges that life or anybody's life brings to them. If we can give our young ones that leg up, and just like Silva's kids, they understood it. They easily learned the techniques to the point where, you know, one of Silva's daughters, they would have a set list of questions. Before he could even ask the questions, his daughter could get the question answers out of his mind and answer all the questions before he could ask any of the questions. And they had to keep moving her further and further and further away. So after a while, they concluded with that test that no matter how far she was, she could still access her father's mind, get the questions with her own mental abilities. So they proved at Rhine University in the 60s that with the Silva or any type of things like this related to, you know, Silva method like hypnotherapy and stuff like that, they concluded in that study that you can teach somebody to be more psychic, more intuitive, more developed in that sense, like you were saying, you know. And it's been proven a long time ago that we can, through those simple practices, we can have great effect and make the changes we need.
That's magic. It really is. What advice would you give to someone who is setting out on this self-development journey, this self-help journey, this kind of journey into personal and professional development, if they're going to start to share these techniques with people and use them for sort of help and healing purposes? What would be your words of wisdom? What would be your advice to someone who's just beginning their journey?
One thing that has helped me is to always have what the Buddhists call as a beginner's mind, to be open to new things and new ideas that you don't quite yet understand, but you got a little grasp, and that's fine. But those bigger concepts and paradigm shifts is what's going to help you. So you got to, just like myself, you know, I wasn't privy to understand that the subconscious mind was so powerful, or even the conscious mind, to be controlling that is the subconscious. So for me to understand that the power of the mind was even more powerful than I ever understood, gave me the footwork to help myself go through understanding what it was I was doing with meditation, or self-dialogue, or learning about the hypnotherapy, and taking myself down with either the hypnotherapy or Silva method. It's to be open to what it was that it was showing me. You know, we have to be open to accepting the help of others. Like, say there's the masters who came before us, like Milton Erickson Esdale and all these people, but they're the ones who are spreading around the groundbreaking, profound knowledge. And it's just as simple as, it could be the way that the body heals itself. Um, we can call it one thing or another, but the simple thing is that just the mind creates the effect that you're after. So for when people understand that it's as easy as a suggestion or a thought, even a
Yeah.
feeling, it's just that easy. So we have to be ready to accept that you're more in control and we are more in control than we give ourselves credit. And once you start digging around those crates and reading the books and going into that self practice, whether it be yoga, meditation, you're making a change and you are changing yourself. And if it's something good, then you can't be afraid and you got to go for it full force and just explore it and just study and see what you learn. That way you can get more tools in the tool belt, as the way I like to look at it. It's just going to help you see that it's all related. It's meditation, the Silva hypnotherapy. They're all different waves of the same string that we're pulling on, but it helps to learn each little niche that you go in to explore in those things, like the suggestions, the the mental attitude. All those things kind of snowball and help you go and attract other forms of systems of learning that will help you gravitate and also attract deeper, profound things. And you might even find yourself getting into math. You didn't even like math, but you open this side of you and
Probably
now
not
you're
math
into
for me.
yeah. But whatever it is, you're gonna
You never
find
know.
yourself being more keenly interested in things and awakening a side of you that you didn't even know that you were interested in, and you find it. So that's what having that beginner's mind to me helps, and it helped me to understand that I didn't know the profound. I don't know everything, and there's profound things that are just little golden nuggets, but once you realize it, it just helps you to relax and to see that the mind is a very powerful thing. You have to be open, accepting to whatever the information that subconscious is giving to you. Could be mind-bendingly absurd for you. Some like Dolores Cannon work with the QHT. It's a past life, and you're learning about all these different things and how it relates to this life now, and almost
Mhm.
like we're traveling through time. So we just got to be open and accepting and
Yeah,
ready to learn.
I love it. Albert
Mhm.
Vigil, you have been an absolute delight to speak to tonight. Thank you so much. From the north of England, we've been
Yes,
chatting
thank you.
with Albert in New Mexico tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic. I feel like we've kind of just got a tiny little bit of your knowledge on tonight's podcast, and you are definitely someone to watch out for. I feel like I can't wait for your books to come out. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with your community education programs and projects. I just think, yeah, watch out, world. There's some wisdom and some knowledge coming from you and through you. So thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your knowledge, and we'll definitely stay in touch and keep following and see what you're up to as things progress in your world over there. So yeah, just thanks for coming on.
Yes, it's been a joy for me. I'll stay in touch as well and let you know about links for the books or anything that comes up. And it's been a great joy just being able to talk with you out there and connecting with everyone out there on that side of the world. So thank you.
Well, that's it for this week and for this episode. I'm sure you'll join me in saying thank you virtually and sending love and positive vibes over to New Mexico, to Albert. And we're just really, really grateful to have had just the most amazing guest. And I look forward to the next episode. Take care. Bye for now.